So, okay. So we're playing Enigma. I got from them, and I gave them ours as well, because, with M joining at the last minute, they weren't sure who our playing roster was. So I figured we would make more use out of it than them. We exchanged playing rosters for tomorrow. Um, it's a little different than what's on the VOD. Oh, I'm not streaming. Let me close tabs. Okay. Um, it's a on in the quarterfinals. They played Noodle Canadian Wild Ray, who's their sub, Night Z, and Not Kings. Um, that was their five. Wild Ray. Um, in semis, they're gonna be playing with Noodle Canadian Sunfish, Night Z, and Wild Ray, which means sorry, go back. Wild Ray is gonna be their support. Not Kings is not gonna be there, and their real mid laner Sunfish, who we have games on from the regular season. Will be that's their starting mid is playing, and their like dedicated sixth man Wild Ray will be moving to support, which is good that I found that out before I started looking too much at their support. um, but it does a little bit limit what uh, we can go there. But I want to focus first on the jungler because they don't necessarily like live or die by their jungler. Um, from what I noticed, all three lanes are like willing and able to go for their own plays if they see mistakes. And White Lotus made a ton of mistakes. We were like, they're a bad team. Um, but to go over the basically this guy played 2 games of Lily and 2 games of Wild. I have like like a one sample size for each. And then if you look throughout the regular season, also played. If you look at his pool, um, he's played the Belveth. He has never played the Evelyn. He's never played the Yi. He's played the Poppy once as a counterpick to Jarvan, never again. And I think he played the Nocturne a couple of times. But by and large, and he's also not on this list that he's like maybe his comp only champion. He's played the Volibear. He's never performed extremely well in the Volibear. My guess is like the team decided it was OP and then asked him to play it. But his Briar is banned a lot. We are also gonna so we have to mostly look at his Warwick, Belveth, Lilia, Volibear. Um, and I was just looking at stats. You can kind of tell based on um, the fact that he averages similar CS numbers um, on Belveth and Lilia and similar death numbers, um, roughly similar KPs. That like he's gonna play the Belveth, and it makes sense with the champion Belveth. Obviously, like kind of a scaling. I mean, she can have strong dueling early, but obviously has the infinitely scaling passive. So he plays. I'm gonna assume he's gonna play these champions very similarly. Um, so we can like everything with Lilia. If you like, we see a Belveth tomorrow. Like, assume he's gonna play it like Lilia style. Um, so Lilia style is this is he prioritizes decision making. He's gonna prioritize the large neutral objectives first. He'll second to that. He'll prioritize counter ganks. Tertiary to that, he'll prioritize full clearing, and then he'll often only look to make an aggressive play. Like if he doesn't see a counter gank, there's no objective on the map, and he's finished his full clear, it's when he's typically looking, um, is when he's looking for a proactive play. Um, so we watch.
Barrel's definitely going to be the
We
huge mini
meet
game.
this guy, and let me go back to 2x. Okay, so you'll see him open up with a full clear. Open the full clear, and he's initially he's going for crab. So you see him like he's hits the orb on crab, sees a counter gank opportunity, comes top, counter ganks. Um, who just joined? Who got here?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, it's Sushi. Okay. Um, walking late to class. I mean, it's okay, Sushi. Um, and then he does this in this game, so he gets the successful counter gank right. Goes straight for the double crab. This is a common like full clear type champion. If you can get a good strong early game, you go for the double crab. He walks through mid on the double crab, gets forced back, goes for it anyway at low HP. He's in this a couple times where he just like randomly ints. Um,
Like right
but
off going for
it's yeah, it's more so. It's not like a. Sometimes it's just like a random int. I think a lot of times it's just is greed. Like on when he's on the Lilia game, the other game you'll see as well, he will greed for stuff and like hope to get away with it, and like sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. Gets greedy, dies, and then here, right? This is where I'm like, okay, like this is the first time I saw it. Um, he's hovering this play in case they dive. Sejuani ganked. You see him relieving pressure off the counter gank, right? Like that gank was already dead. Like if I'm Lilia in this position, like oh shit, like my support died, vision wasn't there. I mean they saw Sejuani and bot river. I don't know how this bot lane died. And I would have been started on my full clear. I'd already been my chickens. But you can see he like tries to like salvage a situation. Doesn't they don't really get punished for it. I mean like he gets chased off, he gets chunked, and then he's gonna continue to a full clear. Well, he's not continuing to full clear, right? He continues into the first two camps of his clear, and you see he's going to go. Well, he was going straight up to Grubs, and then mid jumps in here, so he responds. But afterwards, he goes up to Grubs. He looks to trade when his camps are up. So if we are like, this is all going to help us jungle track, right? Like that's like the if we can shut this guy out of the game by knowing his decision making, um,
Mhm.
and we're able to get decently strong lanes that like you if you don't get ganked, you should be passively winning in or have pressure in. And I think since we are the higher elo team, I'm gonna trust in our laning, even though like I know when we face Emerald teams like that has not been super consistent, but like if we can prevent their jungler from negatively influencing our lanes, and we have decent matchups, we should be able to get to the early games better off. You'll see later on, like when we talk about team stuff, that they don't close games very well. So if we're even 25-minute mark, or like sorry, if we're comfortable in the 25-minute mark, so like slightly ahead, I feel really good about. Or like 20-minute mark, I feel really good about our ability to close out. So again, prioritizing Grubs over full clear, and then here he goes back into the full clear. I'll compare this decision point here from like Grubs into the back into his full clear. Compare it to the next game. If he's on Warwick, he's probably gonna go for the gank top here. Oh, sorry. He just took one and then is gonna go back to full clearing up because that's the way his camps are respawning. Boom. Here, you can see him. He was going to go up to his chickens, and this is another note I have. It is that it looks like he often gets called to plays. So I wanted to see the setup for this. Is he's going up, and he gets called down to bottom. He might have done that intentionally in the war, not sure. But he gets called down to bottom because it's pushing in, and ended up giving it up. Their bot lane sniffed it out, like Amumu was walking straight at them in a straight line, and he's walked onwards. Continuous full clear. Skipped Gromp actually. Hovers around mid. This is also I think mid's asking for this. Like if you look at the gank setup, this Tristana was pushing in a big wave and the Gangplank was already chunked. But it's pretty low, like low impact. He just throws a E, misses, leaves, right? But anyway, so let's compare that to game 2. So Warwick, they do a little level 1 scuffle. A couple flashes get burnt. He doesn't actually play around this missing flash at all, by the way. But look at him on Warwick here. Doing first camp, right? Immediately after first camp, gonna go to second camp, normal shit. He's gonna And like I don't know if it's like just like Warwick brain specifically, but like I see John and I'm assuming that it's just playstyle. Is like the blood scent helps, but like even if he doesn't have like the literal blood scent, champions that are gank heavy like Jarvan, I'd expect him to play like similarly. Hold on, I got a message on Gangster. Um, After Gromp, the dude's level 2, and he has this guy low HP, and he starts beelining. The Mordekaiser calls it off, and he turns around. He wastes that time, right? He's gonna go to a second camp, or sorry, go to his third camp, and then immediately afterwards he's gonna go again. He's looking mid. Turns on the scent. Tristan is low. It's hunting. Wastes his time. Thinks about what to do next. Goes to bottom side. Then also, this is mostly for pawn specifically, but if he has both camps up and the crab, he has often chosen the crab. So he tries to be at the crab spawns around 330, even if he's like, obviously he doesn't even have red buff. Like if Sejuani wanted to, she could have intercepted this and like fought him if she knew what side he's on. But she just opts not to. And honestly, she doesn't have the prio bottom necessarily. So I agree with Sejuani's decision. But regardless, goes for crab. Does a camp, so there's no plays when he finishes Gromp, there's no plays around this side of the map. Trislana's in tower, Lulu Kaisa's in a turret. He goes to farm. He's gonna do this one camp. Still hasn't done his red buff, and this play is already one bot side. Like this play is straight up already one bot side. If I let the camera go over there, he's coming in just because he sees the mark on you. Like this guy's literally like, bro, he's kind of an animal. I see. Right? Like he sees the mark on you, he just starts running. Like he didn't get any KP there, he wasted 20 seconds. But in another play where you guys are winning that, you have to just like know, like, dude, if I'm under half HP and past halfway, that's like the halfway mark rule, like the dude will start just running towards you. He still hasn't cleared his red buff yet. But then to not waste his time, he transitions that into invade. That's like, I think any jungler would make the decision if you've already made the journey. Takes one, walks back, recalls in a safe spot. Sometimes we've gone looking for junglers that like we think might be like taking a more greedy recall. He takes a safe recall. And then 5 minutes here. He's gonna go for, what do you guys think? Based on what I've said, what's his next decision point here?
He's gonna go to Drake.
Yep, he's gonna go to Drake. Objectives over his farm, like the neutrals over his farm. This, I don't know if it's still gonna be played. This is a not the first non-jungler specific note I had, or like but not the first, but like I guess one that's like just their overlap. If you look at the setup for this play, bot lane, and I don't know if it's the support who's gonna be different, or if it's the ADC calling it, or if it's the jungler. I don't know who's in their team, so we have to assume it's gonna be the same. But look here, they see Sejuani, they know Sejuani's there, right? And they probe. They already knew Sejuani was here, and they're probing and baiting in order to force a collapse. And you see Akshan and like it looks like they'll purposely spring the trap, right? They're like Amumu, Nila walk up, purposely spring the trap, and they already have Akshan and Warwick on the rotation. Like the dude loves countering that, right? That's just And this time they get away. Or like this time the Nila gets away, and then like they kill one. I've seen them still try to spring that trap, but instead the ADC kind of just ints. Like, but I've never seen them. I've seen their bot lane also do it when the jungler's actually not there, and they've also just inted. So I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Like, you have to just try and make the read whether you think they're baiting or whether you think they're giving you free gold.
I think we can disengage pretty well.
Yeah, and I think it also depends on what champion's playing. But then again, all camps up, goes straight to Drake, stays on it till it's dead. After Afterwards, Tristana was pushed past the halfway mark. The dude's still level 4. He hasn't farmed a camp besides Dragon in like 3 minutes. Runs at the play. Prioritizes Crab. This one I was actually surprised. I think it's probably just because maybe topside's too weak. But that he went for this Crab instead of going for the Grubs. Oh, look at this one right here. Takes Grom, right? And I think it has to be Warwick calling, or like has to be Kaiser calling this, but just like where he has the lane. The dude is running all the way from bot side up to top to get this kill. He loses his red for it, or sorry, his blue buff for it on the red side, or from the red side jungler. Takes a camp. Look, takes a camp. Starts this camp. Are you guys looking at the mini map? You guys know that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Starts this camp. Guys are TPs, and this is why I think he gets called to plays, like why it's not like his own initiative. Since once Mordekaiser decides to TP, the lane was still favorable for Mordekaiser like Olaf's vulnerable to gank. Cancels his camp and is gonna double back here. Step on a ward, by the way. I don't know. This Olaf's stupid for regardless. Ganks this again. This guy, it's almost about to be 9 minutes in the game, and he's still level 5, and he's farmed like 1 camp in 4 minutes. I'm telling you guys, if we don't feed into this like very like feast or famine playstyle, like he's just bouncing between lanes trying to like snowball the game. He's basically coin flipping the game, right? And enough of these plays worked for him that his team's fine. If he wastes his time like this, and we recognize it, like respond to when we expect him to be there, don't give him anything, he will literally put himself like, we don't even have to dig him a hole. We don't have to put this guy behind. This guy will just waste his own time if we don't give value to that time. And I really think it's super exploitable. Right? Opt into these, really greedy plays like this. This Sejuani also came over here to contest this when her Olaf was dead, and all her camps are up too. If instead that's pawned on like Mord or Lilia or like another, any other champion that, and honestly, in this state of jungle, like any jungle can like clear well. This guy will just bury himself into a hole and will be playing 4v5 come mid game. So regarding him, like these are just the first 2 games. If you guys want to watch for tendencies on games 3 and 4, it's pretty much more of the same. There was one play that I wanted to call out that I thought was kind of crazy by him. I think it might be in game. No, it's game 3. Something he did in game 3. No, something he did in game 4. Yeah, game 4. There was less plays we made here, so the Vi also really put her clear behind. He was fishing for ganks as soon as he hit level 3, even though there was no ganks to be had, so he's still 0-0. At 5 minutes, he's at Dragon, going for the gank here first. Wait. Yeah. Spawns, top side's up, bot side's down, going Dragon side. Looks mid first, nothing's there. Echoes basing. Looks bot first. He's trying to get an advantage so that he can take Dragon. Just gonna sit there. Eventually, give up. But they use the fact that like Lucian and Moon were pushing up, and they just secure Dragon trade. It is takes the blue, sees Vi top, invades, standard. He's so inefficient. It's painful actually. It's here. Coming out of base here. And I think this is called, I don't know, like it could be it very well could be the jungler just looking at wave states and like going good here. But you'll notice bot lane has a freeze. Here, let me check this. Bot lane has a freeze. And I'm pretty sure that they know about that pink ward. They know about this one too. Like they see him. Like they saw him here. They saw him on a ward. Warwick doesn't necessarily know he's spotted, but look at how fast he traverses here. I've never seen Warwick do this, and I want us to be aware that like when you're timing it, when you're like, if this is, Buffalo and Figgy, look in the minimap. It's impossible to tell because it happens off screen. He's going to blast cone, and then he's assuming that there's a ward and try, right? He is going to ultimate over the wall to get a better angle for this gank. He's going to just use his ultimate for map traversal. There's his ultimate going on cooldown, and he jumped this wall, and then now he's already behind the ward. There actually wasn't a ward and try, but he didn't know that. So when you're like, I don't want us to be in this situation where we see him, like pretend we're red side, we see him on this ward at 950, and we have a ward in river, and what do you call it? You're thinking, okay, like obviously if he's on that ward, by the way, there's no crab up, bot lane's echoes, under tower, like that, like there's no like play mid, right? And well, they actually kind of broke this freeze. No, it's still pushing. It's still pushing. But you're in a bad wave state. He's gonna get there, going around the ward. Blast cone. There's the blast cone. There's the R, and he's there 14 seconds without going into river. And these guys are caught off guard by it. Like they're not ready for the timing of it. And I'll be honest, I would not think it's a good use of R, but like it totally worked, right? So that was I thought that was an interesting play I wanted to make you guys aware of as far as like jungle tendencies, and especially like that's like a very like we're giving him Warwick. I 100% like I think this guy's kind of an animal, and I think if we're prepared for it, he'll put himself really far behind, and our pools do well into champions like Warwick, right? Like it's prime for a champion like Anivia. It's prime for a champion like Lilia or Mordekaiser. It's like big Leandries users basically. I think it's also when you have these like quad melee comps plus a short range ADC and they're very like balled up, it lends itself really well to a champion like what do you call it? Like Seraphine, that like especially with W Max, these are gonna be very like long extended fights. Like like you have like 3 bruisers, well a tank, 2 bruisers here, and then like Lucian who has to kind of pick his spots and like kind of like weave in and out of fights, and getting multiple rotations of like empowered W, like they can't punch through something like that, especially a champion like Warwick, who's like DPS, not like burst, right? So just like I plan on leaving this up, but that's what.
Ain't no way barred back shots is on my screen again.
Yeah, he's getting backshotted this game. But that's not what we're talking about. So that's their jungler. In a nutshell, I expect him to play the Belveth similar to the Lilia, where he's gonna prioritize neutrals. I think he's gonna put a higher priority on grubs over drag, maybe. Because that's what Lilias tend to do. Hold up, getting text from. Okay. But I expect him to play the Belveth pretty similar to the Lilia, just based on stats. If he's on a champion, if they put him on the Volibear again, or if he's on a champion that like plays more similarly to Warwick, that's like more not as much of a power clearer. I expect him to be making the same decisions, even though he doesn't have like the big like pathing assistance indicator that like he just will follow blindly. What do you guys think? You guys think just like seeing him play, it's like okay, like we know, like you've seen players like this before, like you know how to deal with it, or do you guys have questions?
Yeah, I'm able to punish if he's just constantly like, looking for those plays, look for the objectives. I'll look to punish and get ahead.
Okay, and then Pond, on you specifically also, think from his perspective and try to call out lanes. Like you'd be like, oh shit, like back off. I think Warwick's coming mid. Even if you have no vision of him, you just like, that's what I think this Warwick would do based on watching him play. So because you as jungler, like you have the most extra mental space to make those call outs for us, make those reads. But hopefully everybody's making those reads, especially seeing this. What about the rest of you guys? Bot lane, how do you guys feel?
I feel good.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
Right.
fine.
I'm used to it. I literally like if I don't see him on the map, I'm probably just gonna play like he's in our lane. So I like junglers like this where they just perma gank.
Because yeah, I guess because when you're playing against a jungler that's more efficient, but you're playing like he's there, you're giving him like you're letting him be in two places at once, like farming everything and then also like preventing you from being aggressive. Yeah, that makes sense. And in regards to that first dragon play, because the spawns are actually desynced at 5 and 6 minutes, we know he's going to be there. Like, right? He's been there every single game around 5 minutes. We also know that he's going to look for the gank first, and if you concede pressure, they'll shove out and transition to drag, right? Um, it could happen around mid as well. I think the nature of just how these mid lane matchups went, um, he didn't have as many mid gank opportunities, but you'll see him hover. You've seen him hover around those and just get called off of it pretty quickly. Um, I think if we have the right champions for it and just be ready for this, Pond, is that if we have the right champions for it, I'll probably have you like sitting in lane for counter gank. Um,
Okay.
You'll also this one I'm a little more skeptical about because Wild Ray is going to support and Not Kings is not going to be there. Um, but they tend to not hold back resources on the gank. Like if you look back at that gank from this one, I don't remember where it was. No, because Nautilus is already dead. Oh yeah, it's whoever Nautilus first. No, because this is Nautilus has already died once here, and I don't think this was the relevant play. This one here, yeah. Um, I don't think they needed to R here. One, and then two, I'm pretty sure the ignite goes off on to Kaisa at the end of the play, but I could be wrong. Yeah, the ignite goes off on a Kaisa at the end of the play, like in case they wanted to keep going, he just ignites. So they'll tend to like overcommit their resources, probably just to be on the safe side. Like if you're not, they're not like calculating it fully out, which means if you're counter ganking, um, Pond, try to let the play develop, and they'll be like
Mhm.
completely pants down, like no cooldowns left. Whereas if you like let's say you're sitting in the bush, Warwick's running in, right? If you queue the Warwick before their bot lane has used any resources, is basically just a 3v3, and it just comes down to like execution if we win it. If you let them use abilities just chasing after bot lane first, and then you reveal yourself, um, then they've used their abilities like in a chase scenario, and as opposed to using them like expecting a 3v3. So I want you to be like does that like I don't know. Am I making sense or like do I need to say that a different way?
No, I get it. I get it.
Okay. Um, yeah, so we'll probably try and look for that at least one game. Not every game are we gonna have the champions that I want to do that. Like, yeah, especially if it's like if it's a little sketchy, um, I'm comfortable just trading as well, and you guys just but if it's a matchup where I'm like, oh, okay, we actually win this, because a lot of these champions he plays like Warwick, bro. Like if you don't kill him at 25% HP and he just stays at 25 HP for 25% HP for a few seconds, like he's kind of like like you've all like been surprised where you thought you were gonna kill Warwick and then he just full heals, right? Um,
Yep.
so it'll depend on our champions whether we go for a play like that. But it's something I want to be aware of. Um, as far as their ADC in general, um, so mid support obviously can't do because it's gonna be different. And then I've already looked at I looked at top. He opts into a lot of if he sees an opportunity for good trade, like he takes it, and I think I just think I can exploit that. I think I can bait him in a few times. He plays pretty aggressive. They give him a decent amount of draft priority. Um, and his blind pick on blue side here was Aatrox in game 2, it was Mordekaiser, which they actually did pick early for him. Which like Mordekaiser is definitely gonna be a priority pick for us, just as because it doubles as a deny pick as well. But for ADC, I didn't notice anything like super out of the ordinary, like this, like oh, like this is super exploitable that he did. Um, but I could just be looking at the wrong way. He tends to. So I've noticed he tends to not look for auto trades a lot. Buff, like he doesn't like contest a minion kill on auto trades. Um, and I don't know if it's because like he's just with the melee support and he's just like going for melee support to go in and he just follows up. Which when you're in an all-in lane, like you want to save your cooldowns for for that kind of situation. But I also don't know, like I mean the matchups were like okay, the first 2 games don't count because he's like playing Neela. Like obviously he's not looking for auto trades on Smolder. The second game he's playing Neela again. But the third game, um, sorry, this is still the second game. The third game he's on Jin Zyra, um, and they are kind of just shoving waves into each other. There was a little bit of pressure um, generated from the Zyra, but he wasn't like going for like auto Q trades onto Zeri like when Zeri wants to farm or something. And then the fourth game, again, did the same thing. They actually took a level 2 all in, and look at the CS right here on the recall. Like they won it. they won the 2 all in, forced a recall. Um, but Wild Ray, I was looking at the games he subbed in support for them. Uh, does play more than just melee supports. He's played Morgana before. I'll just pull those. Not that series. This one? Probably a little too zoomed in. Yeah, this was a Morgana game. It looks to me like a blind Morgana game because I don't think you could, correct me here, but I don't think you're picking Morgana voluntarily into Sivir Milio, right?
Probably not.
Um, and then the second game, um, is a Sona, which this one I couldn't. Just based on matchups, do you think there's more likely a blind Sona or a counterpick Sona?
I don't
Was it
know.
was it
It
when
could be
Maokai
either.
was it when Maokai was OP?
It was no, it was like week 9, so it was like recent.
Like a month ago.
I don't think Sona counters Maokai.
Yeah, but is it like oh his range is too short and he'll like just let me scale, like we'll concede a little bit but it's fine type thing. That's kind of how I like was debating between because I'm does Sona even I'm just pulling up more games he's played support.
She smacks enchanters.
Like she smacks other enchanters just because
Yeah. She
trades
like
even and outscales them. Like what's like that's
yeah. It's like here. Her worst matchups are Taric, Rel, Blitzcrank, Thresh. Her best matchups are Karma, Fiddlesticks, apparently.
yeah that's probably sample
Low
size.
sample size.
Yeah.
She has high win rates into Janna, Lulu, Nami, Leo. Yeah. She just smacks enchanter matchups. But
Makes
she
sense.
pretty much loses to tanks. So I don't.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so this is Morgana's also the second other game that he's played more than once. Oh, they have a different strategy. Okay. Although he did bring out the Leo, so like I don't think I can like peg him as an enchanter player. Um, honestly, like you look at him, he's just. Oh, also Sushi. Do you know this guy?
Well,
No,
Which guy?
but actually, do you know this guy?
Which guy?
Wild Ray 777 played for Evo.
No idea.
No bells.
Nope.
All right, unlucky. I just didn't recognize his tag and his previous org until now. Um, but yeah, you look at him in previous seasons. Let's see, accurate Gangplank player. Evo, Josh Sands played in that org. You played in that org.
I never played for Evo.
Then Josh Sand did, and Bomber did. When you knew them.
What time is our game for tomorrow, by the way?
8.
Okay.
Yeah. So with this guy being support, let's talk about the Morgana a little bit. I'm okay letting it through. Like, I don't think she's a super high pressure champion, and I think she has bad matchups as a blind pick. Um, what kind of stuff would we look for against a Morgana? I think, what do you call it? Like, a lot of the champions, the only disadvantage is that a lot of the champions that we do want to play tend to be like slow, so like a little more prone to getting caught. That's why like if we find out there's a blitzcrank player, we'd like ban it. Um, Morgana's, the Q's like a similar idea, just it's not blitzcrank, but it's the same thing where like she can make picks against us. But I feel like also we don't tend to run comps that are like hinged on um that are countered by Black Shield is what I mean to say. Um, so in that sense, like I think the Morgana loses a lot of value. Um, what do you guys think about like leaving it up? Like what we would play into it, or should we just ban it?
I think that it's fine. Just leave it up and through. I think like Morgana on its own has been in a pretty bad spot
Yeah, I
for a
don't.
long
Yeah,
time. She's not very strong.
I agree.
There's nothing in my pool that like I feel any sort of unease about playing into Morgana. It's annoying sometimes to play Leona into Morgana just because of Black Shield, but but even that is like just I think it's pretty easy to just let it be a skilled matchup. Morgana's not a good champion recently, in my opinion. She's been like off the pack for a while.
Okay. What favorite like champions to play into it? It just like doesn't even matter. Like any like best for the team because like as long as you don't just you just win.
Yeah, can play pretty much anything into her. The only things that are slightly annoying are like the full send Harding, like Leo Nautilus, but even that is like I would still do it. It's not.
Yeah, and I think we usually
It's not a
reserve the
bad
Leona
thing.
as a counter pick. Like we're never blinding that for you, right?
Yeah. But no, anything else, as far as I'm concerned, beats Morgana. Any enchanter, even anything like
Nico.
Rakan, Lux, anything like that is fine. Blitzcrank is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, any enchanter is fine. Sun is fine. There's a lot that you can play into Morg. I think you just let it through. It's a wasted ban.
Okay. If we're expecting to play into it, ADC wise, does that change any of the ADC? Like, do you want like a longer range ADC, or you want like an ADC with the dash? Like,
I feel like I don't need a dash. Like I think it depends mostly on C.
yeah.
But
Oh,
there's
like
no
like
like
it
ADC that I
depends
think I
on their
pick.
ADC.
Yeah, there's no ADC that I pick that I'm like, oh shit, I can't play it.
Yeah, I
Morgana.
mean, let's see. They
I mean, Ashe is a little annoying because you can spell shield your ulti, but it's like I just won't use it on someone that she can spell shield.
Yeah.
Or hold it.
But
that's
It's
probably
just
like
like it's just like when you
one.
play against Braum and you have to wait for him to use his his W. Yeah, before you like throw your shit at him because he can just shield it. It's like the same thing. We just have to wait for her to use Black Shield if we have important CC abilities.
okay. Their ADC, as far as what he plays, has been playing MF, Jin, Lucian, the Nila, and he has this one game of Senna. But if you look at the series, they were banning the first 2 games, and I think they just B1'd it to like deny it, and like I don't think he like performed particularly well on it. So, like this pool, and this is also like in a patch where Senna was busted. Um, I'm expecting to see the MF and the Jin. We might see the Nina. I think they picked up the first 2 games of their last series. Um, potentially, so look at the order they picked it in. They picked it seeing the Lulu, and knowing they got a Mumu support. They see Lulu, they see Trist. I don't know if they fell for the fair. I'm assuming they didn't, but maybe. What makes me think they might have is Gangplank here doesn't do super hot into Trist. I don't know. Like, and then game two, they see the Lulu again. They hold this time and grab. They wanted to grab the Mordekaiser that was no more up in game one as well. That was banned second rotation. I don't know why this time. Um, just to make sure. Maybe yeah, just to make sure I guess. And they grab it again into like the Lulu. The third game, Neela's still up for them, and but they don't have the, and they don't take it. But and then the fourth game, they aren't into a Lulu. They have the Mumu, but they're not into a Enchanter matchup, so they don't take it. So I think combos is Neela with all-in support against not all-in opponents. And with that in mind, Wild Ray plays less of the all-in supports. He plays more of the range supports. So I don't think I'm gonna leave it on the table. But if I see an all-in support and they haven't picked AD yet, let's start preparing for that. Like, what are the best ADCs into Neela?
Caitlyn, Jinx, Ashe are my number ones.
It's just basically
Like, those are my,
the longest range ADCs.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And those are like my three most played recently. So and they all do well into him. So I like it.
Yep, Caitlyn, Jinx, Ashe. Let me go look at a bigger sample size. Yeah, Caitlyn, Jinx, Ashe. Do you like the Xayah?
I do. I'm just not as practice on Xayah.
Okay.
Xayah if they have a dive comp.
Remember, they're picking this with a Neela with an engaged support, so they probably will have a dive compass. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me at the point we're picking ADC, if I see it, just tell me if it's a good Xayah angle, a good enough Xayah angle in general that you'd feel comfortable. Because yeah, with those lower on our champ pool tier, it's I'll play this champion only if it's in a good spot,
Yeah.
So, but we'll keep that on the table as well. Okay, that's pretty much bot lane. That's pretty much bot lane. That's pretty much jungle. I can't do mid as much. We can look. I mean, some fish played mid in 5 of these. He had a variety in his pool. Unfortunately, he doesn't play. There was no drafts posted for these, so I don't get to see when he picked them. My assumption that since the is banned and Sunfish has played Akali before, Akali is a mid ban in this series, and this Echo's a mid ban. This Pantheon's a mid ban. So in at least 4 of these 5 games, they don't pick mid till 4th and 5th pick, which is a little different than what we saw here. This was Gangplank second, Akshan top 3. Over here, Gangplank third. And then only in this last game did they pick mid lane 4th. So I'll try and just prepare for both situations, whether or not they're gonna be willing to blind mid. They have to. But yeah, that's pretty much them. The rest of mine are for top lane. Well, not the rest of mine, just for top lane. Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I missed. Oh wait, for font. It's how they're gonna play collapses versus pushes, in the mid to late game, Electric's team. But that's that's it for individual notes. This is the first game right now. Let me find my timestamps.
Is Lulu Smolder actually a combo?
I mean, I don't necessarily see it. Um, I think he picked
I guess you
Smolder.
might just be going for Tristana. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they picked Lulu Trist early, right, in this series, and they picked Smolder after
Yeah.
seeing the Neela, so he just wanted like that, just wanted range, like oh, like double melee, I can probably get some extra free stacks on, and I mean they won the lane, so I just
I
maybe something
also
he was comfortable
imagine,
with.
I'm pretty sure Tristana has a terrible one lead into Neela.
I
Yeah,
can
but
see it.
they picked this guy Tristana mid like 3 games. I feel like it was
Okay.
always going mid, and they never uh put it ADC. That's while we're waiting. It's like my top lane notes also like this guy, this so Fiora can beat Yorick early. I think they thought on top of for side of red side who we're not playing against, they thought it was Gangplank top. They got baited by the flex and picked Yorick into him, and then they counterpicked with Fiora. But then this guy lost. He lost his counter matchup because he was playing it too aggressively. He was playing it too aggressively, and Sejuani was there when they didn't really have vision, and or also even like they would see Lilia on Dragon, and he's still playing aggressively on when he's like weak side of the map, and just got punished for it. Even there was even a couple times where like the dude literally like they finished taking grubs, and he's still going for a play. Both top laners did this actually. I honestly like, uh, but they finished taking grubs, and the top laners are still fighting. Like the jungler's right there, and they just respect it. But I don't know. I'll be just looking to try and exploit that whenever possible. Um, I'll just, Pond will catch up in. Um, this is a play that White Lotus is making. Um, they're just ambushing them here. I didn't see any vision here. Oh yeah, it's because they do see him. They do see him walk up on that ward there that just got placed. Um, but they still set up, and blue side seems to be relatively aware of it, but they feel like they can win it, and they I don't know, kind of win it. But like this to me is like the bot lane is suspicious. The jungler is walking like he has no idea. Like the jungler is legitimately um like just gets face checked this and gets fucking obliterated. Whereas the Amumu you see him like he's bush checking. And we're
I
not
feel
playing
like
against.
Amumu's just walking mid. I feel like that guy has no idea.
No, I don't think so because they literally see him over here. Like that blue ward just like they see
Okay. Yeah.
Lulu and Smolder walk in that direction. Um, and then Amumu walks back down to collect wave XP with Neela, especially like the bonus, and then I feel like unless like he doesn't even have a sweep charge up, so like he has no reason to like walk straight in this bush. Uh, if you're walking to mid, also he has no reason to walk mid. But if you were walking to mid, you would just walk straight. There's no reason to like. I guess you could check for pinks. Um, even though they lost a member, they still commit to the scrap, and it's actually pretty effective. Um, here's the timestamp on this. The Fiora looks to TP here. Um, and I don't know exactly when it was called versus like when she does it, but I think even if this was off our screen, they took a little bit. Like they're like hanging back here after they kill her,
I'm
right?
back.
They're not sure if they can like keep going, like Gangplank's half and a moves to support. Um, you like look her Gangplank's kind of hanging out, but then when the TP comes up, they start walking forward, and like they pretty well. This is also the worst possible TP by by York, by the way. He just ints. Oh wait, no, he doesn't int. I forgot he's hella fed. I forgot exactly. Oh no, I'm pretty sure he ints. No, he doesn't. I don't remember. It was super scrappy. Um, yeah, he doesn't, but he was just he did get one back. Um, Lily at the respawn obviously comes right back, but it was these plays where I was like, even if they're behind, they put some good party on Dragon, so they get that they got off of that previous fight, one fight. I would still consider these guys behind here. Um, Gangplank's obviously feeling pretty good, but nobody else in his team should be. Um, the Lilia built wrong. Um, but they're gonna with no TP on the map, right? For Fiora does not have TP. York doesn't have TP, but instead of opting the 4v4 here, Fiora will be with the team, and she does this when she's losing. But she also does it when she does this game because she's losing. But like you look at the other game when he's on Aatrox, and he's winning, he also will do this. Um, and they right side smartly is like, okay, take the drag. Um, we've fallen victim to this. We have literally done this where we don't secure mid prio. Like they have 5 here, right? And like we've been on the receiving end of this where we've trolled this. Well, they have 5 here, and instead of securing mid prio, they go down to drag spawn. Um, Send Gangplank to rotate. Gangplank's already way too late. They lose that turret. And I don't know if they, and they lose this turret. Um, and they lose Lilia. I don't remember them losing Lilia, but this kind of prioritization on Dragon that while I really want to get an early one, one of the 2 early, like I want to split the first 2 at worst, so that when they're over prioritizing this 3rd and 4th dragon, it's like not putting them on soul point,
Hmm.
Because I think we can. This is something as a team that we should be able to exploit as well. Let me look at their 3rd dragon, or what 3rd dragon is. So here they're up 2 drags. 3rd's coming up. This time they're winning, right? This only perspective I have of them losing is the first game. Um, Here they're winning. And you notice Mordekaiser actually has TP, but he walks towards Dragon. Um, Red team just gives it up. Okay, it wasn't this Dragon. Let me. Okay. Okay. Mordekaiser goes top this time. Oh, it's still a minute out. I don't know if he walks down or not. If he just stays pushing. No, he just stays pushing. He's winning way too much. By the time he has TP. And obviously, red team kind of just like feels like they have to contest this because it's Soul. Um, just pushing. They're and like red team hadn't even committed yet. Um, but
Allowing it. Yeah.
just the threat of it forces his TP. If this is not Soul, right? Um, I hopefully I'm also not getting like slammed to where like he was able to TP and like this wave is super far out. This is a situation where we're looking to force Mordekaiser TP because he over like they overgrip these drags. We're looking to force, and as soon as we get the TP, so like probing, maybe looking for picks with the Nivea or um, like looking for like a good engage like onto the group of 4 of them. And as soon as we get the TP, I'm good with us. Red team, this is Soul, so they don't have a choice. But like I'm good with us. Start shoving, rotate up, take 2 turrets, or even threaten Baron as soon as we get the TP out. Like whatever we can to like slow down at that point, so we can play the map 4v5 because they're grouped as 5 and like we aren't necessarily. Um, but yeah, I mean, red team doesn't know what they're doing, so it's like you have to kind of imagine from that point that we react smarter. Uh, it's also, I mean, red team's in a bad position just because like their front lines like 3 and 10, um, and their front to back comp, and their front line's like not strong enough to hold the front while they front to back. Game 3, 3rd drag. Okay, they're on red side. They're on red side this time, by the way. Um, it's uncontested. They're there, like, by the way. Not quite on spawn. Um, I've noticed that as long as they feel like it's not being taken, like they're there 20 seconds afterwards. That's not super consistent. They're just like maybe it's just a level of organization. They don't like they're probably not thinking about it like, oh, we have to get there within 20 seconds or something. They're just like getting it when it's like they know about it and they're gonna get to it like at a time that's like like not convenient, but like they're just not like on it enough to like they don't have perfect timers. Like they just don't have perfect reset timers, so it's like they don't usually force on spawn. I'm looking for the next contested drag. This one? Yeah, Darius comes up reset, heads to drag side. Lily's on a reset. They send Gangplank top with TP. Lily is farming. There's this guy just goes for crab. Afterwards, notice their vision line. I would consider red side to be winning here a lot. Their vision line's not super deep. Um, they just go to start it. Both TPs come out. Again, GP's TP comes out like I'm pretty sure it comes out first. Let me double check. It does. It's first by like a second. GP TPs pretty aggressively. Remember this GP is gonna be their support, so it's like can't read too much into like the aggressiveness of his TP. Um, they stay on it as opposed to trying to fight here. So if I was TPing here as Gangplank, I would be telling us to engage on Zeri Amumu because what White Lotus can do here and they just choose not to. They could just jump the fucking Gangplank. I don't know why they don't. Um, but they could easily just jump the Gangplank here, and it would but instead they just back off. Like it's a Gangplank. Like, and I'm pretty sure his flash is still on cooldown too. Um, they don't. They instead concede pressure. But like, look, nobody in White Lotus makes any attempt to move. Um, this should be a dead Gangplank. Um, but instead, like you would kill the Gangplank and then potentially lose the dragon. I guess that's but they're willing to sacrifice people for dragon is the point I'm trying to make. As far as how the fight goes, um, it's pretty scrappy. Like I feel like team fights are like gonna be varied so much by team comp that's like it's gonna be hard for us to like. I couldn't find any like consistent like they always leave their like the support always leaves ADC out to dry and like goes to dive or something like that. I didn't really see anything like super crazy when I watched the full series like front to back. They actually got it stolen from them by the way too. And the game ends before next drag. Cool. I'm pretty sure that's when they concede their drag because they're just getting they're getting nicked. This guy's 6-0. Yep, get to it. They get to it about 20 seconds after spawn. Um, they're just like they play it more like us a lot of times where like we'll often like try and get as much farm to get like as much to power spikes as possible, and even if that means like getting to drag like 10 seconds late. Whereas like you see some teams like prep 40 seconds before, but then like a lot of times, sometimes we lose that dragon and then win that fight because we're like or get more out of it afterwards. Um, this is another situation also where like I don't know exactly what their comms are like here, but like Lucian's like recalling in their face, and the red team like I don't know if I think the red team's just tilted. This is the same team that lost to your Draven, like their mentals probably aren't the best. But the Lucian's recalling his face, and like obviously it's a bait, right? Um, but this bot lane is consistent with that. They like look to bait, and the TP comes out, Vi gets cleaned up instantly. Um, push drag. Fourth, I'm pretty sure it gets contested, but I don't actually remember if it does. It's 15-4. No, yeah, they just get cleaned up in this fight before drag. That's game. Um, But yeah, so game plan wise, I really want to split the first two Drakes because they will prioritize the third and fourth Drake a lot. I did, like, in the game they lost, even they fight over it, they lose the fight. Um, they'll focus finishing the drag over winning the fight. And I'm totally fine with that. We can lose a drag, get a clean fight between all the kill gold, all the waves shoved in, the turrets we get afterwards, potentially Baron. Um, Especially, dude, the type of comps that we're looking to draft as far as like putting a heavy prio on the Lilia, on the Mord, on the Anivia. Those are all great on the Vayne. Those are all great Baron taking champs as well. For the same reasons that they're good into like these beefy melee comps, they're also good into Baron. So we'll be looking for pretty aggressive Barons. Um, I also think I told you guys last time that they um, aren't like super on it, like aware of their of like early barons, and they're like they don't like contest vision a lot, like in between those dragons. So if we clear out show in lanes and like two people drop off, we can get a baron sneak. And I know we talked about that on Friday, but that's still on the table as well as far as like we are gonna like be playing the mid game, which is realistically, I think mid game is their strong suit. It doesn't mean we're conceding because like just because they're strong, it doesn't mean we're not also strong at it. Um, but I guess that's how they're gonna be playing the mid to late game. That's how I want us to playing the mid to late game is leveraging them over indexing on dragons to get advantages, um, either with one team fights that we're better set up for because they're like we know they're all clumped at dragon and they're all melee too, so it's like I don't know, it's very easy to walk up to that kind of situation, especially if we have like the Seraphine or we have like in a moon where like any of those big AoEs or like I'm probably gonna have a lower priority on the Sandra because she's really not a tank buster, but we'll see based on matchup.
I was gonna ask, would we prioritize switching our mid and bot against them then?
No.
So that we always have mid prio?
Um,
Not like after 10 minutes.
no, because
No? Okay.
it's I think it's not something that couldn't work, but it's just not something that I've practiced on into that I want to try it for the first time today, you know?
I mean, we've done it before.
Not really at 10 minutes. I think it's usually after pull, and I think it's just, it can be too swingy if we fuck up the rotation or somebody dies in those situations, especially like that time Will rotates bot, dies because he thinks the support roamed, but he actually like the support like turned around and was sitting in the bush. Um, and then their ADC is getting 4 plates. Like it's just way too swingy with plates still available. If first turret hasn't like so how we usually play is besides the neutrals like Grubs, Gromp, Grubs, Dragon early game. The other thing we're typically playing for are plates. And like you've heard me tell Will, you've heard me tell bot lane like oh like if your lane rotates sometimes I'm like oh just ignore it, punish by pushing. Um, we play plates. I think it's just sitting guaranteed gold, especially like that's like time sensitive. And then after that, we play first turret. Like there's been plenty of situations where I like after you get a gank off, I'm like, oh stay, you're racing so and so for first turret because like I died and then you guys got a gank off bot and you guys were racing, or the reverse, right? Um, Maybe somebody's like kind of chunked, but I'm like, oh, can you stay? You have to defend first turret. You guys know we play for first turret. It's a very big influx of gold onto one person, and basically, whoever have that like counter pick on or have is gonna be like the big DPS guy, trying to get that influx of gold of plates and first turret gold onto our carry for the game is is big for us. So that's usually what I play for afterwards, more so than and that's how I think we're all comfortable playing because that's how I call almost every game. Except once we lose early game, it's just like then we're calling just like stop the bleeding. But that's what we're going to continue to do tomorrow because I think that's where we're comfortable, and I don't want to like really throw this off until we're like grouped, and then it's easier to like move everybody as a unit as opposed to like moving 5 individual parts. It's like too much. Yeah, that's why I don't introduce like something like that new. Um, Anything else? Anything that you guys unsure about, or anything like, even just like watching the like if you're thinking about something else that you thought I didn't notice or something. Everyone else, ever feel good about our game plan? Like we are gonna
Yeah.
try to counter them, basically counter them in team fights as much as possible. They play melee centric comps with their support while they're being their support now, slightly less melee centric. I'm gonna try to keep support counter pick to like basically prevent them getting not necessarily prevent them getting like super high value out of Sona. Um, is the only real champion I'm worried about. I consider like basically like Sona and Seraphine because they're to a lesser degree Janna, but Janna's is like R dependent. But Sona and Seraphine because the nature of their kits are like extremely AoE to be like the best scaling enchanters like as you go into late game. Um, whereas situationally Lulu if it's like with the hyper carry, but whereas like Nami or Karma, Karma's like barely an enchanter, he's kind of like a hybrid mage. Um, to be more more lane focused with the worst scaling. So I'm probably not gonna like blind you Lulu, or sorry, I'm not gonna like blind you Nami and open up a Sona pick. Probably like save support as much as possible as a counter pick. If we see the Morg, then we can like just figure out what do I need. Do we need lane pressure? Do we need scaling? Whatever. Um, but I don't want them to do to us what we plan on doing with them, which is picking a lot of anti-tank, picking a lot of like zone control, um, these big AoEs like Anivia and stuff, um, because we don't do it as melee focused as them, but a lot of those bruisery like thick champions are also susceptible to getting anti-tanked. Like Anivia builds like 3 health items, Lilia builds like 4 health items, like 4 straight health items. Garen that I like I play builds a bunch of health items. Um, so I don't want them to get a lot of value out of a pick like Sona or out of a pick like even just like the like they're getting some out of a champion like Warwick who he builds Bork on the champion, which but I guess out of Bork users, just put it that way, like out of Bork mid and top laners, but or like they play the Mordekaiser, the games that they're on Mordekaiser, same idea. Um, so in draft, focusing on countering them in team fights without opening ourselves up. They play the Lily as well. They play the Mordekaiser, and it's good into us for the same reason it's good for us into them. Um, going to look to counter them in team fights, and then rely on this session, like just understand their jungler, and the fact that I feel confident in all your guys' ability to like laning wise, um, that we are of at least equal skill to them in lane. I'm not depending on us to like just like lane diff them, but I'm depending on us to not get lane diffed, so it needs to be like at least equal um, coming in the early game, and then comp clicks together towards the mid game. Um, they overgroup these dragons. You're either going to take a one team fight um, or look to just build a gold lead passively while they're like just kind of like forcing these objectives. Um, the Baron sneak probably was only gonna work like 1 or 2 times, but it's could just win the game on the spot pretty much. So, um, if if we see an opportunity for it, we're gonna go for it just because we have the kinds of champions that are good at that. Like we're not picking like MF or something that's like bad at Baron. Um, that's pretty much our game plan. Any questions or any like we've played we play sometimes like this already, right? If I see that they pick like the right melee champions and I lock in Pawn Lilia as opposed to locking him in like a Mumu or something. Um, any questions or like things that have gone wrong for us in the past when we play this way
I,
that
I I think it's just those teams who are more well prepared for those picks will be fine. I think any pick will work against them. It's just more the actual like the what's it called.
just execution, right?
Yeah,
Like I mean,
execution. Yes, it's less about the pick, more about the execution when it comes to
yeah,
them.
yeah. It's also
So
just like
I don't mind any pick here. I'll play what I need to do.
especially like, seeing how he plays Pond, like you're like, oh, like I can play anything against this guy and like I can just outpath him, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and I do really think you can do that. But that's our game plan. Um, I if we need to make any audibles like after if something's working after game one or game two, um, we'll try and adjust. But like going into tomorrow, um, as far as I want us to expect what their jungler's going to do to not fall behind, as well as rely on draft to not fall behind early, and then the pieces should just click together in the mid game pretty naturally, which means we are gonna be team fighting a lot. I don't expect to be on a heavy split pusher. Um, that's pretty much that's pretty much it. So we're gonna like look to out team fight them in the mid game. Um, if we are um, like just punishing them over grouping by playing the map, um, it is usually in a way it's gonna be like very low risk. It's not like us like taking a big or like I don't need you guys to like make a big dive or like make a big play. It's just us. Oh, they're over grouping. Let's just take their whole jungle like and push out like um and then make them react to that while weak side plays weak and but defends the turret. So I'm not gonna like we're not gonna be forcing anything like really wild. It's more just if we're not team fighting, it's because we're just playing defensive and absorbing gold until we're at our spikes to where we do team fight. That's it.
My only question is there any like top lane matchups where you'd wanna like flex swap top
Oh
bot?
yeah, that's
Because
actually
one I'm thinking is like Aatrox is a super free Vayne matchup.
um I didn't necessarily know that. I felt like I felt it. My understanding of Aatrox is that he's tends to range champions. He beats all my range champions. But I guess Vayne's just like the tumble like you can always just dodge.
Yeah,
I think
Um
it's a skill matchup.
it's pretty skilled, but
it's just a one you feel really comfortable in
um,
too.
yeah, it's feel
Yeah.
confident on that.
Yeah, as far as that goes, I don't think it'll change our game plan necessarily, like if we do that. But yeah, matchup wise, Mordekaiser, numero uno. Like, if I don't have Karma or Lilia into that champion, I would probably love to send you top into it. Do you feel good about Vayne into Mordekaiser?
Mordekaiser? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
Okay. That was the number one for me. Like, yeah, if I don't have Karma or Lilia, or even if it's just like not a great Karma game for other reasons, I also expect they might ban it against us because I mean that was first game of the season and like I picked Karma and like I don't think they want to see it again. Um, but if outside of those two champions, Mordekaiser, Aatrox, Aatrox is another one that I think I have limited picks into. I have more than just Karma. I have more. Well, Karma's not even good into it, but I have more options there. But if they're not, um, so my options in Aatrox are Wukong, Pantheon, um, and I can actually play the Lily into it. The Lily matchup's a little awkward sometimes because you feel like a range champion is kind of bullying you sometimes, but it's you outscale it. Yeah, Lily outscales it pretty hard. At first item, just winning. So we could look for a Vayne into that angle. I'm a little concerned how well what at what point do you like can he just like not show up in the like I'm curious like in the mid game, right? Like I feel like when he's at like 1.5 items or so, like does it not get hard at that point? Does it not just run you down? Like how does it side lane later on? Or do you just stay ahead of him?
I think like once I have like 2-3 items, he just can't like 1v1 me ever. It gets
Okay.
a little rough if like the jungle shows up,
Mm-hmm.
but I shouldn't ever be in like a position to get ganked
Okay.
unless he's like freezing on me.
Yeah.
It's not as like free as like a Mordekaiser matchup, but
Yeah, because I could see you
yeah,
like early game bowling in
it's
his cooldowns are long and you're like, just right click him to death. I could see it getting hard around level 7 for you. Especially if he like does
yeah,
something like
like mid.
rushes like if he like rushes tab eyes, and like and he just starts and you're like pushed and he just walks you down the lane with R. And then I can see it getting hard at 7. Honestly, I could see it like I feel like it stays hard until you probably get to that 2 item spike. Is there like is there a build you go that like duels him but you just go, like uh I don't know, do you do like the Storm Razor thing? Like I don't know I don't know like is it like or is it like Bork try to like just like be a little beefier? Like I don't know like what cuz Aatrox builds right now are like first item Profane Hydra with the lethality. And so I don't know like what's how do like what do you build to face him 2 items? I don't know like if that's a build that like would make sense for us in our team fight as well. Yeah,
I
we'll
would
try.
probably lean towards like just like the standard like Bork Gensus. But like the more I think about the matchup, I mean it's like not I don't think it's great enough of a matchup to like
To
swap for
warrant
it.
something for
Yeah.
it. Okay.
But like
Aatrox,
Mordekaiser, that shit's free.
yeah, and I think we already talked like a week ago. Like I'm leaving Mordekaiser. I think we can play around it pretty well. Um, how is no, that feels pretty good. Other things this guy's played, Urgot, Fiora. Fi they blind Fiora, which I don't necessarily expect, but it looks like they might have here, because Malphite's supposed to be like a good Fiora matchup. Bro, they blind Fiora, um, and Lissandra's banned. Okay, if Lissandra's banned, I'm probably gonna match Fiora ban, in second rotation. If Fiora is blinded, uh, and Lissandra's, that's probably the only situation I'm taking Lissandra. Um, but if for some reason they get and I can't go, maybe it's just like a AP thing. Um, what does that matchup look like for you? Because I'm pretty sure
Wait,
it
what
can
matchup?
Fiora.
Fiora? That's one that's like not great.
I wouldn't think it'd be great. Or how is it later? Like, can you side lane against it later on in the game? Because that opens up what I can pick into it a little bit. Or no?
I think it's like mostly skill matchup. Like Shen does really good into Fiora. Like I'd rather play Shen into that.
This is a really low sample size. I would not consider. Yeah, honestly, like yeah, might just like leave it at it in case, dude. Because I always sprint that against that champion. Um,
Oh
yeah, I
shit.
don't know. I
Vayne
always.
has a good answer for the last patch, but it's like low sample size too.
I usually like if on the champion lower sample size like that, I just try and look at like 2 or 3 patches and combine it. Um, yeah, these stats are like kind of even, which like, and it's funny like the Shen matchup, Fiora goes up gold and kills, is because better push on the wave, better like auto on the wave with like auto Q, and then but it just I guess it opens up Fiora to things. I don't actually know. I don't know why Fiora's died to Shen, but go up CS, up gold, XP. Um, but okay, that might be one where I'll like not even doing it to like because you have like a super strong counter, more just because like I'm getting countered mentally. Is the Fiora is the third one. Everything else he plays, like I don't think he's gonna blind Darius against me. Blinded Volibear against me in the series. I don't think he's gonna do that either. I mean the Urgot. I was talking to Will the other day. I think I've let my understanding about like years past is that he's kind of like a semi-ranged top laner and he plays like a lane bully. And if you just like go even with him, he just like falls off a cliff because he's like short range, self slows, like team fights like kind of mid. But the Urgots we faced recently are like very um the Urgots we faced recently are like very strong in the late game, and I don't know if it's just his itemization or like the meta's different around him, or he's gotten direct buffs that like it's no longer enough to him go even. You have to kind of like try and like beat him. Um, um,
I'd say it's winning for sure.
okay, because you're both ranged, but like you just have yeah, you have a little more range. Like he's a little too slow.
Yeah, and he can just tumble out of his Q. Dodges slow ass E.
Can you condemn him out of his E or no?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Here we have like
I
5
don't
minutes.
think it's like unstoppable, right?
Yeah.
I would also like low key. Do you play Aatrox? Because
No, God no.
the more I think about that matchup, like it seems like it'd be a good Vayne matchup too.
I don't play Aatrox
And
at
I'm
all.
looking at like past stats, and it still looks good.
I'm gonna pick Urgot. Just you pick Vayne and like just level 1 meet mid. Just start E. Your runes don't matter. You can just like lock and meet. I'm gonna test the interaction. Just because I do want a Vayne on the team, but it's like, sometimes some lanes just ain't good for it. We might try and do it. So I'm guaranteed, by the way, I don't want to do it game 1. Because if these guys